roads? It's the Earnest Hancock Show, where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Earnest Hancock, and my good friend, Mr. Gerald Celente. Mr. Gerald Celente, he is the publisher of The Trends Journal. Now, he's been around a long time telling us what's what, and he's clairvoyant. Well, at least he's not dumb. He's paying attention, and he knows what's coming. And I tell you one thing he's working on is the Second American Revolution. And you know what? It has a headquarters. And the headquarters, he thought it best that he purchased the 1750s. The Franz Roggen House is a stately stone colonial set on the northeast corner of John and Crown Streets in Kingston's historic Stockade District. It's the only intersection in the United States that boasts pre-revolutionary stone buildings on all four corners. Now, I know this is in New York State, Gerald, but, you know, is it in the city? Where are we talking about here?
We're 90 miles north of New York City in Kingston, New York. And Kingston was the first capital of New York during the Revolutionary War. And so there's a lot of stone. It's a beautiful area in the Hudson Valley. It was also very instrumental during the Revolutionary War. The Constitution was brought here to be signed and at the Senate House. So it has the history. So I thought to myself, you know, if this was instrumental in the first American Revolution, let's start the Second American Revolution. And I mean that with all sincerity. I got back from Berlin recently, and I've been haunted by it since. Anybody that's ever been there knows how grand that city was. To me, it was grander than Paris before it was bombed. There were white boulevards, beautiful houses, nothing more than 10 stories. So the light shines in everywhere it parks. And I said to myself, you know, everywhere you look, you see old buildings and all new construction between it. Old buildings, new construction, post-World War II. I said, how can the Germans, I mean, this is the land of Goethe, Einstein, Bach, Beethoven, Wagner. How could they let a two-bit freak like Hitler destroy their nation? And I'm Italian. And after my saying, I've been to Italy, by the way. I was down in Uruguay, Chile, Argentina recently. Because I'm just looking at the fascism that's moving into here. And I'm saying to myself, you know, the same thing happened to the Italians. I mean, we're a culture. I mean, you know, nothing. Michelangelo, Rossini, Puccini, you go down the list. How can they let it to destroy a country? And the same thing's going on in America. As I look at these politicians and the people leading us past, present, it's a two-bit freak show. So I said, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to be run out by two-bit freaks. So if the first American Revolution started, it's time for a second. And that was my impetus to buy the building and to start the movement.
Okay, the movement to what? I mean, you're going to what? How is this going to manifest itself?
Well, the first thing that we need to do is we need an entirely different system. To me, and I have chops in the field. I used to be the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate. I used to run political campaigns in Westchester County in New York. I know what I know what it looks like. So the first step is that it's a corrupt system. You want to call them the Republicans and the Democrats, knock yourself out. To me, it's the Bananos and the Gambinos. And we got a gang of 535 telling us how to run our lives. They're wise guys for the Dons. And the Dons are the financial group, the banks, the Wall Street crime syndicate. So to me, the first thing is to delegitimize the whole system. So the first thing I'm calling for is to stay home, don't vote in the 2012 election. If we get 40% or less of the people to turn out, we can call this election invalid. We want another slate. We have to shake up the system and restructure it because we know what it's done in the past and we can see what it's going to do in the future. So step number one is to delegitimize this criminal operation, and I believe my campaign slogan is going to be stay home, don't vote.
Well, you know, I got a logo for you. In 2006, I ran for Secretary of State in Arizona, and it's a black sign that has like a German Nazi kind of font that says still voting with a question mark, and the V in the voting is for vendetta. Okay?
Oh, good.
So I'll send that to you. That's where the Lovolution logo came from during that campaign in 2006. That's where I got that from. And
oh, great.
So I got a whole campaign for you, man. I'm all over it. But I'm telling you, you're going to replace this with what? I mean, we say, we're done with this. This is, it's bad. And now we're going to do something good. What's good?
Well, one of the things that I'm also suggesting is looking at models that work better than ours. And one of them is the Swiss model. And they have direct democracy. You want to go to war? Let the people vote. You want to bail out banks? Let the people vote. Have referendums on major issues. And if we could bank online, we could vote online. And our voting system right now stinks anyway. It's not secure or safe. We could have a more open system with online voting, because it would be open to all scrutiny, and it would be, I would guarantee that it would be much better than the criminal operation we got going now.
Yeah, but for that to be secure, you'd be able to have a secret ballot. Not that I mind. I mean, it's the only way to, Fred voted this way on that. I mean, it's any other way, and it's kind of open for, Lord knows what. But, it's not impossible, but it's impossible to do it the way they're doing it now. Anybody knows anything about computers is going, right. It's much easier to take over a country with a floppy disk than it is with a tank. And
that's right.
That's why.
And that's the other thing. I want to see you have a peaceful revolution. One of the mind and the heart, not of bullets and armies.
Yeah, but what is it that's infecting us? I'll put it this way. Nazi Germany, we're in Nazi Germany. I mean, it's 1930s. I don't know, we can argue it's 33, 35, 36, 37, 38, but we're in the 30s, okay? So you go, all right, when's it time to leave? And you're saying yourself, I'm kind of looking around, and that's why my wife and I now are traveling the United States. We went from Phoenix to Montana, over to New Hampshire, to the Pork Fest. We're now in Ohio on our way to Texas, making the circuit. And I'm telling you, we're talking to people and going to these self-sustainable farms. We're going to different building projects, different ways of, energy things. I'm going, the spaceport in New Mexico. I'm doing a lot of visiting, traveling, and taking pictures and writing up stuff and getting ready. And I'm telling you, there's the same thing. They can't make a go of it in certain ways because the man has taken over the control of the property. It's the property taxes. It's the enterprise. We don't have a corporate income tax. We call it an enterprise tax. We call it, it just goes on and on and on. And I'm like, until we get this monkey off our back, we're not going to be able to build ourselves out of it. So we tear it down. We're going to replace it with what, Gerald?
Well, again, you mentioned it. We have Uncle Sam on our back. It's that's the illustration, on our back. And so the other things are, you're traveling around, you go up to Vermont, and you see Thomas Naylor up there that's trying to...
Hey, Gerald, they're going to push the button on us. Can you stay one more segment?
Sure.
Let's go ahead and do that. We'll be back in 4 minutes at 33 after with Gerald Celente. And he's got a solution. He's got a plan. Should we help him? Does he need help? We'll find.
Do you want to take back control of your own money? Then take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the world's first decentralized, anonymous internet currency, and it's gaining popularity every day. It's free to use, free to accept, and free from inflation forever. You can use Bitcoins anywhere in the world. To learn more, visit weusecoins.org. Your dollars are going down. Learn more about Bitcoins at weusecoins.org. That's weusecoins.org.
Get 18,000 radio stations from around the world. Pandora, Opio, Live 365, and MP3 tunes. With C. Crane's CC Wi-Fi Internet Radio. It's great in any room of the house. You can listen to your favorite station stream from back home, whether it's another state or another country. Play Free Talk Live's live streams, LRN.FM, or your favorite stations. If you're not familiar with the C. Crane Company, their products are the best. Get the CC Wi-Fi Internet Radio at ccrane.com, ccrane.com.
Free Talk Live.
Crack cocaine, the way it hurts individuals and communities, I would really like to see dealers get the death penalty.
Why are you so violent?
It's a violent drug. It gets to your brain, it reorganizes, it actually physically changes the structure of your brain.
Yeah, that's true with alcohol.
The community is being put in danger by the fact that these drugs are illegal. I don't use crystal meth, but I'm in danger from those who do use crystal meth in that if they need another hit and they they can't afford it and their drug dealer's not willing to accept a BJ in order to give them a hit of crystal meth, then they are going to go and steal things, break into cars, break into homes. If you can't see how prohibition creates more problems than it solves, if you can't see how prohibition leads to more violence,
just look at Al Capone and the history of alcohol. It's simple.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
On Free Talk Live, we talk about investing in gold and silver as a hedge against inflation, investment, and barter currency. We've teamed up Midas Resources to offer you some great rates on some hand-picked gold and silver pieces. U.S. Eagles, Sovereigns, 20 francs, liquidation silver rounds, Montana silver reserves, and Walking Liberty halves. Call 877-857-9938 or go to gold.freetalklive.com. The shipping is the same for 1 as it is for 20, so try to get as many as you can all at once. Gold.freetalklive.com.
If you can't listen to the Liberty Radio Network's internet streams, free satellite channel, radio affiliates, no worries. You can listen to LRN.FM from any phone, anywhere. Add this number to your phone, 760-569-7753. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The Liberty Radio Network listen lines are locked on our stream 24 hours a day. Call 760-569-7753. That's 760-569-7753.
Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better, no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Earnest Hancock. To be a part of the show, call 602-264-2800.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Earnest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona. No, that's wrong. It's Columbus, Ohio, as we're traveling around the country. Well, we got Gerald Celente, publisher of the Trends Journal. Trends Journal. You get the Trends Journal, because you know what the trend is? The trend is you need the Trends Journal. I can tell you that. That's what the trend is. And Gerald is now starting up the Second American Revolution. He's got a headquarters in Kingston, New York. Now, this is one thing I want to get to. First thing, we're going to talk about the economy real quick, what we can look forward to in the elections. But first, the solution. I mean, the first solution is, whatever we got now is bad. Quit sanctioning what we got now because it's bad. It's bad. So what's the solution at the end of this, Gerald? What are we planning on?
All right, as I said, one of them is direct democracy. The second one is, and you pointed it out, you said we got this monkey on our back, and it's Uncle Sam. And they regulate our entire lives. So you're traveling around the country. When you go up to Vermont, check out Thomas Naylor, who's heading the Second Vermont Republic. And secession. Let's start making this up, just like we've become the USSA, like the former Soviet Union. What are we being run by? By a criminal group in Moscow, the Kremlin, the DC? It's the same thing. So we need to break it up. With too many now, with over 300 million people.
That's a good way of doing it, Gerald. You call it the USSA to distinguish them from the U small s of A. You can kind of, make that distinction and explain it to people because, man, you got that right. We as a USSA.
Yes, so let's break it up. And again, the other things are, what do we replace it with? The military running lives. How about that? We don't need to, Eisenhower does it in the same complex, taking the country. And you travel around. Isn't Columbus a beautiful place? Up the money for our own front. We got wars to fight. You know, we got them Al-Qaedas over there in Somalia we got to go get. We got them Al-Qaedas over there in Yemen. You know, we got people out there that don't like us.
But if we quit screwing with them, if we quit messing with them, they'd be a lot better. Tell us about Syria. I mean, you know, this is a war drum beating thing. What's on there?
Well, again, you know, it's American imperialism. I hear Hillary Clinton shooting a fat mouth off about, you know, how brazen acts of Assad are and how this brutal dictator has to be brought down and how brutal he is to his people. Hey, you want to talk about brutality, Hillary? How about your husband? The no-fly zones over Iraq. Every time he'd get caught with a chick, he'd get our minds off stuff and bombs away over Baghdad, killing innocent people. Oh, how about that? How about the war in Libya that the Nobel Peace Prize winner over here, Obama, started? How about the surge in troops in Afghanistan? How about the Predator drones? How about the 8-year war that what's his name? Bush, that little freak, started over there in Iraq because Saddam Hussein did not have weapons of mass destruction out there. You want to talk about morality? I'm going to make this really clear. Nothing is going to change in this country or anywhere until morality finds itself in the individual. The people are as responsible as the leaders. They put up the yellow flags, the yellow ribbons. They raise their flags. They honk their horn. Let's go to war. And until the morality returns, nothing will change.
You know, they give this impression that the people are that way, and there is a lot of them. I mean, yeah, there are definitely Kool-Aid drinkers out there, but you know, a lot of people aren't. And I don't know what the totals are, but you're saying if we get below 40% turnout, I don't know, we're probably pretty freaking close, man. I mean, you know, I would look at that. You have 1,000 people, you know, less than half of them register to vote. Half of them actually vote, or half of them are the ones that win anything. You're down to being 15, 20% of the people that control everything. So I'm just going, you know, it's already illegitimate. And I remember in Kosovo, they had some big vote. They're going to reconstitute the government and so on. And they had a percentage. Oh, well, the election's invalid because not enough people voted. And I remember at the time I checked and I go, there's fewer people voting in the United States. Are they illegitimate? Yes. So, you know, I'm all for, you know, this criteria that you got. But I'm telling you, man, they got the guns. And they are not going to go quietly into that good night.
Well, we have to. If it's a battle of bullets and armies, it'll only be more destruction. It has to be one, to me, as I see it. Again, I don't tell anybody what to believe. My motto, taught to me by my dear father, may his soul rest in peace, is think for yourself. And so the way I see it is this has to be one of the mind and the heart. And I mentioned to you, how could, you know, Hitler take over a noble country like Germany? And they had to be at the top of civilization in the 30s. How could the Italians let a Mussolini? How could we be run by a guy that can't walk and chew gum like George Bush? It comes back to me, Ernest, it's the people. The people have lacked the courage, the dignity, the respect, and the integrity and passion to fight back. You know, I saw that clip that was making all the media about that woman on the bus, the school bus monitor. And these little kids are making fun of her, and she's crying. Ooh, if that was my mother or my aunts, may their soul rest in peace, they would have said, you little SOB, I'll put soap in your mouth. Who do you think you're talking to?
It is a culture that has been developed by the guy. And this is my optimism, Gerald. I'll tell you, this is why I'm so optimistic. It's taken generations and trillions of dollars to propagandize us, to doctrinate, to get all the little kids, and they keep getting younger. No, that's not enough. We need you down to kindergarten. No. We need to have government-funded preschool. We need to get you at 3 years old because, damn it, Grandma keeps teaching you the stuff that the government, don't want you to know. You know, everything you need to know you learn in kindergarten. Well, we're going to teach you what we want you to know. So when that goes away, as the money starts to go away, as people start to pull their children out, as they see it as child abuse, to send them to government schools, it becomes less and less of an ability and a mechanism and a place for them to control the next generation. And the Internet made a big, big difference in just the last few years. Don't you agree?
I agree. And I said, I'm putting my money where my mind is and my heart is. I'm not just, blowing out hot air. I'm not a rich guy. I work for a living. I have to take out a mortgage like other people to buy this thing. And, I love what this country used to stand for. People say, don't you love your country? What's my country? A bunch of funky politicians? There's no Bill of Rights anymore. They've been taken away from us. There's no Constitution. It's a joke. So I say, I want to restore. I want to have a renaissance. Again, you're driving around the country. You go to places over in Columbus or Detroit, and you see this beautiful construction that this country used to be proud of building, and now it's all rotting away. And what do they put up? Big box stores. You said it before. We got a monkey on our back. The bigs have taken control of everything. You're old enough to remember when there were stationery stores, not just Staples. You're old enough to remember when there were hardware stores everywhere, not Home Depots and Lowe's. You're old enough to remember when there were family farms, not just Tyson and ConAgra. You're old enough to remember when there were many media stations, not just Clear Channel, ABC, CBS. You remember when there was drugstores that were owned by people and not Rite Aid and CVS. You remember when there were community banks and not everything was J.P. Morgan Chase and Bank of America and Wells Fargo.
We remember. Gerald Celente. It's been great having you on, man. I'll try and talk to him. He'll come in for another segment. But I tell you this, you need to keep attention of the Second American Revolution.